very simple names.
Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Salem. I am the Reverend Monica Jacobson. I use she, her pronouns, and I serve this congregation as minister. Can everyone hear me? Yes. I'm just keeping an eye. I'm making sure the sound is getting through to folks on the hearing assist system as well before I go on. Okay, I'm getting like a thumbs up. So we are, as always, so glad that you have joined us this morning. All of you here in the sanctuary, those of you with us online, it matters that you have chosen to take this time out of often busy, hectic, chaotic weeks to come to ground, to center, to make your electronic devices behave for an hour or so. They try to take over our lives, right? It's good to say, nope, not now devices, not now newsfeed, not now email, not now dinging alerts. We carve out this hour for something different. Leading worship with me today are Ariane and Kirkpatrick as our celebrant. Rhonda Holt is our Lifelines lay minister. Our UUCS choir is singing today under the direction of Grace Curran and with Dave Yackel at the piano. Jeff Minden is at our tech table along with Lorianne Schmidt, and Doc Hadley made our slides. It takes many hands to create worship, and that is a good thing because it is a beautiful project to undertake together every week. Just as our community is a beautiful project in which we bring together all the different ways that we are and questions that we carry, our joys, our hopes, and our sorrows and our fears. When we bring them together, we make something that is more than any of us alone. You are welcome here this morning, just as you are. Whatever beliefs sustain you, whomever you love, however you understand and express your identities, and in all the ways you are still becoming the person that you will be. Your presence is a gift to us all. And now, I want to invite you to join in taking a good deep breath. Feel the air come in and fill your body. Feel it go out. Help yourself know that you are here in this gathering and not anywhere else. You don't have to do anything else right now. You don't have to worry about anything else right now. When we gather to find this center, this place where we can touch some peace, where we can feel our breath. So come, let us worship together. Please rise in body, in voice, or in spirit for our gathering hymn. It's Come, Come, Whoever You Are, which may be familiar to you, but there is a twist today. The Rumi poem that this hymn comes from has more lines than the ones that are in the hymnal, so we're going to add one of the lines today. It's printed in your order of service as the ostinato. It's up here, although it's kind of small at the bottom. If it sounds intimidating to learn something new today, don't worry about it. Sing the main hymn, but the choir and I are going to do our best to add the ostinato. And we're going to sing it through 3 times. Beautiful.
As we join together here in this place, perhaps you can meet this morning with open hands and receive the time we share with grace, embracing the stillness, the quiet, the calm, to find inner peace we are here together. And wherever there are two or more of us gathered, there is love and coffee. Please join me as we recite our affirmation together. The words are projected here and are in your order of service.
Love is our doctrine. Compassion is our way. Here we seek to create a joyful home for free religious exploration, build a community of caring fellowship, nurture the hopes, and serve the needs of our world.
In this congregation, we give light to 3 chalices as we begin our sacred time together. May these flames inspire us to remember the things we hold dear, and may remember the light in the dark that sparks hope, even when there seems to be little. May we remember the light of love, love for everyone, even if we're surrounded by hate. And may we remember the light of peace, peace that brings equity, even when turbulence abounds. Our congregational chalice is lit for justice and fairness, for acceptance, and for all of us. Our partner church chalice is lit for connection, for sharing, for those far from here and near. And our lantern is lit for giving to and growing the future for all youth and those seeking acceptance, knowledge, and peace everywhere. Please join me as we sing these flames to life.
Rise up, O flame, thy light glowing, show to us beauty, vision, and joy. Each week, when we gather, we look for wisdom and inspiration, and we look for it in all kinds of places. And many times we find it in stories. Sometimes folk stories, sometimes illustrated books, and sometimes true stories of something that happened in a person's life. So today I have a story to share about a man named Christopher Reeve. I'm going to guess that some of you in the room have heard of Christopher Reeve, and for others, this story may be new. And if you want to come up and join me, you can come on up. This is for anyone young, young at heart, young of joints, anybody for whom sitting on the floor or coming up and taking a seat in the front row feels like a good thing. We're going to tell a little story. Hello. Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. So today I want to tell you the story about a real-life superhero, a man named Christopher Reeve. And I see that we have a few special outfits today because today we're celebrating superheroes in our religious education program. Many people know Christopher Reeve as the actor who played Superman in some movies, not the most recent Superman movie, but some other ones. But this is not a story about flying or that kind of superpower. This is a story about what happens when life suddenly changes, and we have to figure out what to do. Christopher Reeve was a Unitarian Universalist, like us. Yeah. He believed very deeply in the worth and dignity of every person, like we do. And one day, he had an accident, and he had to learn new ways to understand how to be brave and how to help. So here's our story. It was a hot, sticky morning, and Christopher Reeve was at a riding competition with his horse, Eastern Express. But he wasn't sure he wanted to be there. Something did not feel right. The horse seemed distracted, like maybe he would rather be eating grass in a quiet field rather than running and jumping over fences with a strong rider on his back. And Christopher thought to himself, maybe I should have gone sailing today instead. Maybe I would like to be sailing with the cool breezes, spending time with my kids. But then he smiled and he thought to himself, well, I'm lucky. I get to choose what to do with my time. People watching him that day thought he was very lucky too. Many of them thought of Christopher as a real-life superhero because he was the actor who portrayed Superman in the movies, and he was tall and strong and athletic and always pushing himself to do better and learn more. But in one moment, everything changed. Eastern Express, his horse, stopped suddenly instead of going over a jump. And Christopher was thrown forward off his horse. He hit the ground hard. When he woke up in the hospital, he couldn't move his hands or his feet, and he couldn't breathe on his own. The doctors were able to help with his neck, but they could not fix his spinal cord, the part of the body that sends messages from the brain to move our hands and feet. And so Christopher still had his intelligence, his determination, his heart, but now he lived in a body that could not move except for his head. He felt overwhelmed with sadness and with fear. He wondered if his life still had meaning. And one day he said to his wife, Dana, maybe it would be better if I wasn't here anymore. But Dana looked at him and she said something very simple and very powerful. She said, you are still you, and I love you. And those words helped Christopher begin again. Christopher had always loved challenges. Before his accident, his challenges were acting, sports, learning new skills. And now his challenges were different. He learned a new way to sit upright. He learned to move a wheelchair by blowing through a straw in a particular way. He learned patience in a whole new way that he had never practiced before. He missed so much about the way life had been. He missed being able to move his arms to give a hug to his family. He missed riding horses. He missed sailing. But he realized he still had many gifts. He still had love, determination, and a voice that people listened to. So Christopher chose a new goal and a new challenge for himself. He dreamed of a world where spinal cord injuries could be healed, not just his, but for everyone. He and Dana started a foundation to raise money for research and to raise money for ramps, wheelchairs, and other tools to help people live full lives. Christopher realized something very important. Even though he could not use his arms or his legs anymore, he still had power. People knew his name and they paid attention when he spoke. So he spoke. He talked to lawmakers. He asked for support for research. He shared his story with honesty and with courage. And he showed the world that strength is not just about muscles. Strength is about your heart. Near the end of his life, Christopher was asked why he had joined a Unitarian Universalist church. He answered, "It gives me a moral compass. I often refer to Abraham Lincoln, who said, 'When I do good, I feel good. When I do bad, I feel bad.'" He said, "I think we all have a little voice inside us that will guide us. We might call it God. I don't know what it is, but I think that if we tune out all the noise and the clutter and listen to that voice, it will tell us the right thing to do. Christopher Reeve is a person who shows us that a real hero isn't someone who can fly. A real hero is someone who listens to their inner voice and chooses to act to make our world better for everyone. So to keep exploring our theme of superheroes today, Carrie Lynn has some activities for you all. She's going to take the lantern, and if I can have the center aisle make a love arch, please, we will sing you out so you can explore your superpowers. Wherever you go, go in love. Wherever you go, go in peace. Wherever you go, go in beauty all around you. Our hearts go with you. Wherever you go, go in love. Wherever you go, go in peace. Wherever you go, go in beauty all around you. Our hearts go with you.
I was grown in the 50s and the 60s. That's the 1900s. A long time ago. My childhood was in the 50s, but I came of age in the 60s. Remember the 60s? Some people say if you remember the 60s, you weren't really there. Peace and love and stop the war, voting rights, equal rights, marches. I burned my bra. I swore off makeup and vanity, and I patched all the tears in my denim skirt made from a pair of jeans. Now, music was a big part of that time, and there were many songs that helped fuel the movements. I have always loved music. I'm not a musician, but I still love to sing. There's so much meaning, so many stories told through music and poetry. Poets and songwriters put into words the feelings of a time, not only today, but in times past. I can think of so many artists who shared my young adulthood. Joni Mitchell, Joan Baez, Peter, Paul, and Mary, Bob Dylan, the Beatles, Simon and Garfunkel, to name just a few. So many of those songs touched me deeply. Songs like this one by Paul Simon. Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk to you again because a vision, softly creeping, left its seeds while I was sleeping. And the vision that was planted in my brain still remains within the sound of silence. In restless dreams, I walked alone down narrow streets of cobblestone. Beneath the halo of a street lamp, I turned my collar to the cold and damp when my eyes were stabbed by the flash of a neon light. It split the night and touched the sound of silence. And in the naked light, I saw 10,000 people, maybe more. People talking without speaking. People hearing without listening. People writing songs that voices never share. No one dare disturb the sound of silence. Fool, said I, you do not know. Silence like a cancer grows. Hear my words that I might teach you. Take my arms that I might reach you. But my words, like silent raindrops, fell and echoed in the well silence. And the people bowed and prayed to the neon god they'd made. And the sign flashed out its warning in the words it was forming. And the sign said, "The words of the prophets are written on the subway walls and tenement halls, and whispered in the sound of silence." What happened to the young people from the 60s who flashed the peace sign and raged against the machine? Oh, I know. We grew old, we had families and careers, and our voices became softer. And for so many, the voices became silent. We cannot remain silent, and we cannot turn our backs on the needs of our world. We are UUs, and love is the center of our covenant with each other and the world. Peace is possible. Peace. But to achieve it, we must speak loudly and stronger than the sounds of silence. We must be louder and stronger. We must help younger generations from our children and our grandchildren and our great-grandchildren to give voice to the cause for peace. We must drown out the sound of silence.
There is a portion, hello, there I am, where I will be inviting you to join us on some claps and singing. I think by then you will have picked up the melody, hopefully, and if you're willing, we'd love to have you join.
One of our Lifeline's late ministers. Lifeline's lay ministers are members of UUCS who are here to help people in times of need. We may be identified by our lavender stoles and badges, and you can reach out to us by visiting the Lifeline's table in Henneman Hall each Sunday or by using the contact information in your order of service. Each week, when we gather for worship, we share the joys and sorrows of members of this community. We know that joys shared are often magnified as we celebrate together, and sorrows shared may be lightened as we are reminded that we are not alone. As I read them, we'll light a candle to symbolize the truth that is shared and remind us that what we hold together brings more of the light of understanding and compassion to us all. Today we have 4 sorrows and 3 joys. Some are a mixture of both. Red Jewel earlier this week wrote, "My pregnant sister has been in the hospital for dehydration and a dangerously low blood pressure for about a week and cannot leave the hospital, leaving her husband with 5 children at home. But today," she writes, "my sister is out of the hospital and back home, and she's expecting a healthy baby boy." Danielle S. says, "Please send loving, caring thoughts for my family, for my mom who is seeing her mother for the long process of dementia. Give us strength to deal with this." Ariana says, "A dear friend and longtime pagan has passed through the veil at 83 years young. May her journey be easy and swift. Hail the traveler, Grace Hart." Annie Menden writes, "Please keep my sister and her family in your thoughts. She has been diagnosed with a rare form of blood cancer. She has a good prognosis, but has to get chemo and a bone marrow transplant. Her kids are 2, 8, and 11. Red Jewel writes, "My friend Joel's dad had a stroke and is passing on today. Please keep him and his family in your hearts." Dave Lindley writes, "Thanks for all that came out yesterday to help with landscaping. Looks great. Beth Ann, Mary, Adam, Katie, Brian, Deborah, and Oliver." Thank you. My granddaughter, Sophia Holt, writes, "Today is my sister's 13th birthday. Pray for my family." As we light one final candle to remind us of the joys and sorrows carried in this community, which remain unspoken in our hearts.
Holding all that we have heard, holding all that we know is in our world, holding our own fervent desires for peace. Will you join me in this litany for peace from the Venerable Thich Nhat Hanh? Get yourself centered however is comfortable in your chair. If you'd like to close your eyes, you can. If you'd like to let your gaze go unfocused, you can. Whatever posture is right for you. As we are together, praying for peace, let us be truly with each other. Let us pay attention to our breathing. Let us be relaxed in our bodies and minds. Let us return to ourselves and be wholly ourselves. Let us be aware that the source of being, common to us all, is the source of all that is. Evoking the presence of the great companion, let us fill our hearts with our own compassion toward ourselves and toward all living beings. Let us pray that all living beings realize that they are all nourished from the same source of life. Let us pray that we ourselves cease to be the cause of needless suffering. Let us pray that we may live in a way which will not needlessly deprive other beings of air, water, food, shelter, or the chance to live in health. With reverence for life and with awareness of the sufferings that are going on around us, let us pray for the establishment of peace in our hearts and on earth. May it be so. As you bring your awareness back into this gathering, I invite you to join in singing Circle Round for Freedom. The first time through, we'll all sing the melody. The second and third times, you will hear our choir bring in harmonies. And if you would like to sing harmony as well, it is printed in the gray hymnal. If you can find a copy of the gray hymnal, I know they have migrated. But if you'd like one, you can pull one out. Please join in singing this commitment. Circle round for freedom, circle round for peace, for all of us in prison, circle for release.
Another by Margaret J. Wheatley. There is no greater power than a community discovering what it cares about. Ask what is possible, not what's wrong. Keep asking. Notice what you care about. Assume that many others share your dreams. Be brave enough to start a conversation that matters. Talk to people you know. Talk to people you don't know. Talk to people you never talk to. Be intrigued by the differences you hear. Expect to be surprised. Treasure curiosity more than certainty. Invite in everybody who cares to work on what's possible. Acknowledge that everyone is an expert about something. Know that creative solutions come from new, correct connections. Remember, you don't fear people whose story you know. Real listening always brings people closer together. Trust that meaningful conversations can change your world. Rely on human goodness. Stay together.
A lot of good advice in that poem. Margaret Wheatley counsels us. Ask what is possible. Keep asking. And in these times, that can feel like hard advice to follow. It is a lot easier to ask, what's wrong? And embark upon a list that goes on and on and on and on. And to insist that peace is possible can feel like a pretty radical claim right now. This time of so much war and violence and reckless disregard for the stability that at least some people in the world had known, that product of an agreement formed between nations 81 years ago on April 25th, 1945, when the United Nations was established. And yet, peace is possible. Maybe not peace in the near future on the grand scale, but possible. My favorite definition of peace is this one, which I learned from an activist at the Climate Disobedience Center. She said, peace is not the absence of conflict. Peace is the presence of justice. This definition draws us down to the root cause of so much that is wrong. It reminds us that simply suppressing conflict is not the same as achieving peace. And in fact, suppressing conflict, which seems like a strategy for peace, ultimately delays the establishment of true peace. It is hard to deal with that which is suppressed, covered over, disregarded. And my other favorite definition is that the most basic definition of conflict is that it simply means the presence of different ideas. There is generative conflict as well as destructive conflict. Generative conflict is a source of creativity and problem solving. It is, in fact, part of the path to peace. The trick is how we handle it. There was a Unitarian minister, the Reverend John Haynes Holmes, who was a pacifist serving a congregation in New York City during World War I. And if you know anything about the World War I era, you may know that it was very difficult to be a pacifist at that time. The overwhelming social understanding in the United States and many other countries was that your options were to fight in this righteous war to end all wars, or to be a traitor, or maybe a coward. There wasn't a lot of understanding of a moral stance of pacifism. And yet, John Haynes Holmes knew that he was a pacifist, that he believed that war could never solve problems or establish justice. He had been born into a Unitarian family just after the Civil War, and his grandfather raised him, taking him to different Unitarian congregations in Boston, teaching him about the great leaders of the tradition, including those whose ideas were countercultural. Young John never got to meet the minister, Theodore Parker, but he went to services in his church, and they told him about how Reverend Theodore Parker had been an abolitionist in a time when many people were not yet ready to confront what it would truly mean to abolish human enslavement. Young John was inspired by these stories, how Theodore Parker knew what was right and said it out loud and guided his life by that inner knowing of what the world needed, even though it was unpopular and uncomfortable. So when World War I erupted, John Haynes Holmes preached to his congregation his belief that war is always wrong, that violence cannot create peace. And he knew, preaching this, just as the United States was entering into World War I, that this was not a popular opinion. In fact, he knew that there was a chance his congregation would vote and say, "We can't have a pacifist minister in our pulpit." But that is not what happened. Instead, his congregation said, "We disagree with you, and we understand you are giving us your moral clarity. We want you to be our minister and to speak to us the truth as you understand it, and to hear our truths as we understand them." And John Haynes Holmes did this. He practiced holding these contradictory positions and ideas. In one beautiful sermon, he preached to his congregation that he could never enlist, he could never believe war was the right thing to do, and that he knew there were those in the congregation whose own consciences guided them to enlist, to send off family members. He said, "We will support your families, we will pray for your safe return, and if needed, we will mourn your loss. This community can hold different ideas and care for each other." Now, sometimes when we talk about peace, this expression that comes from the Christian scriptures comes up, the peace that passes all understanding. This is a way of describing the kind of peace or inner well-being that transcends our current circumstances. It is one that we find in many traditions. It's not too far from Buddhist enlightenment. This sense of groundedness, being rooted in spiritual practices, anchoring ourselves to our most important values, and cultivating trust in the longer view and the bigger picture, even when what is happening now seems so far from the world we dream of. But that's not easy to do. How do we cultivate that trust? One powerful way some people learn that kind of trust is in their relationship with others who nurture them. We find it often in relationships of parenting and caregiving, grandparenting, mentoring, teachers. We gathered yesterday to celebrate the life of Josephine Bateman, a longtime member of this congregation, who was a teacher, a nurturer, a mentor, deeply invested in the lives of young people and all those who care for them. This is, I think, one of the sources of ultimate peace. That we in our communities raise our children well. That you can do that as a parent, and you can do that as a caring adult in the greater village. This is a root source of the justice and the peace our world needs so much. And it reminds us that the act of caring for each other at every age and stage of life is also part of the long game of peace. Perhaps you have heard the expression, hurt people, right? When we help each other tend to our own woundedness, we ourselves become better agents of peace. A friend of mine who has worked in early childhood for 25 years now often looks at our current government and says, all of you needed better care when you were little tiny children. And then she says, that means I know that what I do every day is part of the better future that we are building. There is a poem by John A. Holmes, no relation to John Haynes Holmes, that was published in 1937 in The New Yorker about the peace that does not pass our understanding. This is the text. It's called The People's Peace. Peace is the mind's old wilderness cut down, a wider nation than the founders dreamed. Peace is the main street in a country town, our children named, our parents' lives redeemed. Not scholars' calm, nor gift of church or state, nor everlasting date of death's release, but careless noon, the houses lighted late, harvest and holiday, the people's peace. The peace not past our understanding falls like light upon a soft white tablecloth. At winter, supper warm between four walls, a thing too simple to be tried as truth. Days into years, the doorways worn at sill, years into lives, the plans for long increase come true at last for those of God's goodwill. These are the things we mean by saying peace. Now imagine writing and publishing this poem in 1937. Here is a snapshot of just of the few things that happened in the world in the year leading up to its publication. The 1936 Olympics were held in Berlin in Nazi Germany, and a pact was signed between Germany and Italy, forming the Axis powers. In the United States, the Ohio River flooded, leaving 1 million people homeless and 385 people dead. The Soviet Union tried and executed 13 Trotskyites who had attempted to overthrow Stalin, and later began executing or imprisoning thousands of dissidents. The Spanish Civil War was raging, and the League of Nations prohibited foreign intervention. The airship, the Hindenburg, exploded while tying up to its mooring in New Jersey, killing 1/3 of the people aboard. And, although perhaps John A. Holmes did not know this at the time, in 1937 in Germany, the Gestapo arrested a priest named Martin Niemöller and sent him to a concentration camp. We most often hear his name today because he is the author of the poet, First They Came, about all the groups for whom oppression came, until he ends by saying, when they came for me, there was no one left to speak up for me because I didn't speak up for anyone else. And all this in the midst of a global economic depression that began in 1929. It is perhaps understandable why this poet wanted to envision tangible, practical, comprehensible forms of peace. the people's peace, which does not mean the comfort and convenience of those in power. This movement toward the presence of abundance and thriving. This poem came into our hymnal set to music. I'm so grateful that our choir will sing it for us later. It originally came into what we call the blue hymnal, the one that was published in 1964. And now in our gray hymnal, the first stanza has been removed, perhaps because the Hymnal Commission realized that many Unitarian Universalists don't think of clear-cutting as a sign of peace. A wise edit on their part. But this articulation is also part of what helps us envision the peace that is possible. So let's stress test this idea a little bit. Let's see what it means to affirm that there are forms of abundance and generosity, gratitude, grounding in our values that can create more peace in our world. Do you know the story of a small town named Gander in the province of Newfoundland in Canada? Okay, a couple nods. Gander, in the mid-20th century, built a giant airport because it is located on the eastern edge of North America. So if you were flying across the Atlantic, either way, at that time, you had to stop to refuel right at the edge of the North American continent to make it over, or if you'd made it to Gander, to then go on to wherever else you wanted to wind up. On September 11th, 2001, when terrorists hijacked planes and crashed them into the Twin Towers and the Pentagon, and flights were suddenly grounded and the United States airspace was closed, 38 flights were diverted to Gander. This town of 9,000 people suddenly had 7,000 stranded air travelers. People speaking a variety of languages, in the midst of a variety of journeys, unsure what was going on, scared and isolated. And remember, this was a time before widespread cell phones. So these people were desperate for a payphone, or anything really, to find out what was happening. And the people of Gander were told, we don't know. There could be hijackers on these planes. There could be bombs. We don't know. Now, the province of Newfoundland is a place with a harsh climate. And like other places with harsh climates, it has a deep culture of hospitality to go with it. Just as in desert places, there are practices that say you must not turn the stranger away from your door because they might not survive the journey to the next person. We find this too in places where winter is harsh, where storms rage. And it happened in Newfoundland. Jim DeFeed, who wrote a book about Gander on September 11th, puts it this way. He says, Newfoundlanders live like a people under siege. They are isolated on an island and powerless against the harshness of the weather. They have learned to count on one another for survival, neighbor to neighbor. It is a mentality that has been fostered over centuries since the earliest European settlers realized the only way to survive in this desolate but beautiful outpost was to work together. That understanding that taking care of one another is essential did not stop with their fellow Newfoundlanders. The people of Gander received thousands of what they called plain people. They provided shelter and food and clothes and transportation, and after a few days had passed, some residents began saying to those who were stranded, "Do you want to come back to my house for a shower? Do you want to stay in my guest room? I have a nursery where you and your kids would be a lot more comfortable than on the floor of the gymnasium. Come home with me. Be welcomed and cared for." DeFeed writes that one Gander resident named Bonnie Harris, reflecting on those days 20 years later, said, "Well, I'm sure you've heard this before, but it was not a big deal. What else were we going to do? Not help? What else were they going to do? Not help?" There is a beautiful musical about these days. Come From Away, exactly. This story of thousands of people stranded and welcomed and cared for and supported. It is called Come From Away. It is one of my family's favorite musicals. We just saw it a couple weeks ago in Ashland. I commend it to you if you ever have an opportunity to see it. And the other thing that this story teaches us is not only the value of hospitality, not only the value of caring for each other, but in fact, the truth that part of what protects a person in times of trauma is the supportive presence of others. Knowing that someone else knows and cares what is going on, that someone else wants to help, makes a huge difference. Those stories from Gander in the days after 9/11 illustrate this powerfully. All these people, their lives hugely disrupted, the fate of their loved ones uncertain, found comfort and some protection, even in these newly formed relationships with their hosts. And people in Gander, who were horrified by the news they saw from the United States, found meaning in choosing to connect with and help others. So in these times where we experience the horror of what is happening, the trauma of what can occur in our communities, the fear of what might come, I think it is imperative to ask ourselves, what are the values, the practices, the truth of that still small voice that I will ground myself in? How shall I live so that even a little movement toward peace comes from my presence? I think we begin by naming our gratitude for the mundane, for the pieces of peace that we find in our daily lives and that we share with each other. And then we ask, where else can I extend kindness? Where else can I live from generosity? Where else can I make a difference in this world by connecting with and helping those around me? I think these are worthy questions that point us to the worthy practices for our times. They remind us that peace is possible. And they remind us that we are responsible for tending to ourselves and each other so that we can live in a way that keeps our hearts open, even in a world with pain and suffering and war, and keeps our hearts soft enough to hold all these practices that ultimately move us all closer to peace. So let us keep on together. May it be so.
We are a giving people. We care, we hope for the best, and when someone is in need, we will help. Our minister's discretionary fund is for assisting members and friends, for giving, and for helping to heal. And this month, we share the plate with that fund. This place we call our sanctuary depends on each of us to keep it functioning, to pay the employees, to pay the bills, to maintain the building and the grounds, and pledges help to budget what we need. And if you're placing a check or monies from your personal pledge into the offering bags, be sure to indicate somehow that this is your pledge. Other funds are divided between this place and the monthly Share the Plate program. You can give of your time, and many of you do. We are so grateful. We also share with the Marion Polk Food Bank to help others in need. We are so grateful because without you, this place would not be the same without every one of you. Thank you for all you do. And thank you for every way and any way you give. Please know that it is deeply and sincerely appreciated. Please join me as we express our thanks to the work of this congregation, which is weaving a tapestry of love and action. We dedicate our many gifts, including these offerings. Reverend Monica will take the flame from our congregational chalice to light our lantern for social justice, to help us keep the focus on the injustices in our city, state, country, and to shed light on those around the world. We hope its light will help bring peace. And as the flames of our chalices are released, hold these flames and remember the things that we hold dear. Hold these flames and remember the light in the darkness that sparks hope, the light of love for everyone, and remember the light of peace. Peace that brings an end to the sound of silence.
A couple quick announcements for you. If you are not already aware, I make the announcements on the back of the order of service, which means I am acutely aware of what I have forgotten to put on the back of the order of service, which is why I try to make the spoken announcements as well. So, a couple things that are coming up in May. Next Sunday, May 3rd, our morning service will be Stories of Beltane, one of the points on the Wheel of the Year. And in the afternoon, our CUPS group, our pagan group, will have a maypole weaving gathering. So if you've ever wanted to weave a Beltane maypole, or if you've done it before and you want to do it again, plan to come back in the afternoon next Sunday. Next Wednesday, May 6th, not this week, but the week after, we will have our first gathering of a book group about Priya Parker's book, The Art of Gathering. We just talked today about the value of connecting with each other. This book is about creating gatherings that intentionally foster connection. If you are interested in being part of the book group, being part of the conversation, and looking at how some of those ideas can be applied here in our community, please do sign up to join us. That gathering will be on Zoom for maximum convenience. And on Saturday, May 9th, we will have a training about CPR and the use of an AED, one of those automatic defibrillators. This is for emergency response and preparedness. If you are someone who would like to gain those skills or refresh those skills, you can sign up to join that training. I'm going to look meaningfully at Ben for a moment because I'm not sure how best to sign up for that training. Ben, could you wave to the folks in the sanctuary?
There is a registration link, and it went out this week, I think.
Excellent. So if you got the Friday announcements, there is a registration link in there so you can sign up for this training. I believe there is a fee, but also it is a nominal fee, Ben says.
$5 for a 6-hour training and hopefully less. Wow.
$35. And if $35 is a barrier, let us know and we'll figure something out. We want this to be available to those who would like to invest in these skills. There is always more going on, but some of it did make it onto the back of the order of service. Much of it is in the Friday update and also in the newsletter. So please know that whatever calls to you, your presence is welcome. It is needed. It is part of how we connect with each other in this service of bringing more peace into the world. And with that, one more. If you are interested in being part of the newly reforming Green Team, that's about making sure that we are as environmentally sound as possible, you can find the social justice table in the fellowship hall during coffee hour to express your interest in being part of that team. And you will find John Prohadsky there. John, can I ask you to wave at everyone now? Thank you. Okay. This is the audience participation part of the service. And now, if you are willing, I invite you to rise in body, in voice, or in spirit for our closing hymn, Nothing But Peace Is Enough. It is short and hopefully catchy. We're going to do it 3 times through, and feel free to listen to the choir on the first time to get it in your ear.
Join hands if you are able, elbows, winks, as we join in our closing words.
May faith in the spirit of life, hope for the community of earth, and love for the sacred in one another be ours now and in all the days to come.
Blessed be.